Have you ever heard of Die Glocke? I am talking about the powerful top-secret time machine that was allegedly created by the German Nazis toward the end of the Second World War.
This, some say, was the Wunderwaffe, the wonder weapon. A weapon so powerful, so exotic, that even in the last minutes of the war, as the Soviet army closed in on Poland, could have changed the whole course.
Die Glocke, Nazi secret space program. Few people were aware of it, since it remained a secret for many years. It was an anti-gravity UFO-like saucer craft that many believed could travel across time. This mysterious Nazi bell is known to have served several purposes, including helping the Third Reich reach space, visit the Moon and Mars, and even distant star systems. This is purportedly possible through the unexplainable UFO-like gravity-defying propulsion system, a cutting-edge technology not available to the masses. The development of this technology was ordered by Adolf Hitler and would play as an essential part in the secret space program initiated by the Nazis. When Hitler noticed that the walls were starting to close on him, he pumped even more resources and manpower into his Wunderwaffe, or wonder weapons, to accelerate the process.
There's a great deal of evidence that suggests that the scientists, including Hermann Oberth and Werner von Braun and others, were working on a bell-shaped craft that was electromagnetic in its propulsion system.
This was all in an attempt to radically change the course of the war. This weapon is the Die Glocke, the bell, and was part of the long list of Wunderwaffen that the Nazis developed towards the end of World War II. After more than 15 years of researching archives in different countries, Igor Witkowski, a Polish journalist and author specializing in the military technology and history of World War II, published TThe Wunderwaffe, a book that discussed Die Glocke at length. TThe Wunderwaffe would later become a huge success after British military journalist and author Nick Cook quoted him in his own book, The Hunt for Zero Point, Inside the Classified World of Anti-Gravity Technology.
The Germans worked on various I would say unconventional aerial systems or weapons to build some objects that were more or less circular. Vertical takeoff and landing crafts, for example.
It has since been reviewed by lots of writers and researchers. In fact, other writers like Joseph P. Farrell later associated it with Nazi occultism, anti-gravity, and free energy research. So, what did Igor Witkowski, Nick Cook, Joseph P. Farrell, and many other writers and researchers discovered of the discovery of Die Glocke through some transcripts from the Polish archives? He wouldn't have been able to access this document without one of his Polish intelligence contacts. Although he was not allowed to make copies of these documents, he was allowed to transcribe them. What he found in these transcripts shocked him. It was from an interrogation of a captured former Nazi SS officer, Jakob Sporenberg. Witkowski relates in his book the presence of a strange bell that measured 4.5 meters in height by 2.5 wide. Its shape is similar to that of a large bell. That is also where it got its name.
The external appearance of the bell was such that it was a ceramic cover, bell-shaped, which housed a kind of a core or axis around which rotated two cylinders around the same axis in opposite directions.
According to his description, it was made of an extremely durable metal alloy, covered with ceramic, and on the inside it housed two counter-rotating cylinders that contained a violet liquid with a consistency similar to that of mercury. The journalist identified this liquid as serum 525 and it was also stored in a 1-meter-long thermos capsule coated in lead. Other researchers added components such as light metals, Leichmetall, thorium, and beryllium peroxides, elements commonly used as fuel in nuclear reactors. From Cook's description, Die Glocke was revealed as a strong radiation-emitting craft. The radiation is released upon activation. And the effect? A bell-shaped machine capable of potentially destroying everything and everyone close to it. After all, it was designed to be able to pierce time and space. Scientists were reported to have suffered from a very terrible case of vertigo. They would later die because the levels of radiation that the bell emitted when it was activated were just dangerously high.
Everything suggests mathematical calculations, for example, that it could have been an effective way to master gravity.
There are some ruins of a metal framework close to the Wenceslas mine. Many have dismissed it as just a conventional industrial cooling tower. However, Witkowski maintains that this structure is in fact used as a test rig for an anti-gravity propulsion experiment conducted using Die Glocke.
The henge itself stands in a pool of water, and the pool itself was covered with ceramic tiles.
Near the Czech border in Ludwikowice was a mine in which the Nazis built in secret a revolutionary model with anti-gravitational properties. The Bell was the first experiment of anti-gravity engine prototype. One of the most striking things was that this project had been developed with the names of Kronos, time, and Lanterntrage, light-bearer, having references in the top-secret documents as Gate of Time. Adolf Hitler commissioned the device that was capable of traveling through time and had anti-gravity capabilities.
You have to ask yourself, where would they have gotten that kind of knowledge so quickly? One of the possible reasons is that the Ahnenerbe, with their researchers, had actually discovered technology through some of their expeditions to find ancient replicas.
In command of this project was SS General Hans Kammler, a scientific engineer who had also participated in the development of multiple projects such as V-2 missiles, jet aircraft, wings, Nazi UFOs, and underground constructions.
A multicolored orb of light was seen in the sky in 1937 in southwestern Poland. And by all accounts, this was a UFO sighting, but it's a lot more than that.
By the time the Second World War ended, neither the Bell nor its team of scientists and developers resurfaced. They all simply disappeared. SS General Hans Kammler, who was the one in charge of the Third Reich secret projects, didn't resurface since.
We actually don't know what happened to Hans Kammler at the end of the war. He has just disappeared. No body has been found.
And there is more to this.
It boggles the mind to try to grasp what these guys were thinking because it is so totally alien. And that allowed them to go into areas that are completely beyond the Western paradigm, beyond what Western science says.
When the Second World War ended, a lot of former Nazis were tried at war crime tribunals. They were charged of crimes against humanity and violations of human rights. Among the defendants was a former Nazi SS Obergruppenführer, one of the highest commissioned Nazi SS ranks. His name was Jakob Sporenberg. While the Allied army was on its way to the village of Ludwigsdorf, now called Ludwikowice, the officer of the Waffen-SS, Karl Sporenberg, by direct order of Hitler, had carried out the execution of 62 Nazi scientists, engineers, and technicians who had worked on the project Die Glocke.
The entrances to the tunnels were blown up, and all the prisoners of the concentration camps, which knew something, anything about the production or the purpose, was closed inside, and so the mystery of this undertaking was sealed off effectively.
The idea was to keep everything about the technology a secret from the outside world. It was Sporenberg's affidavit that would later give us the clue to how this highly advanced technology sounded. According to Sporenberg's affidavit, the bell was a highly advanced device that produced a hissing or buzzing sound when operational. He noted that, because of the sound, his fellow Germans referred to the bell as Der Bienenstock, the German word for beehive. Paintings of Charles A. Delschau, the late 19th century artist, would later add additional evidence of the bell's existence. These highly detailed images of the bell, as painted by Delschau, indicate that there are German engineers who knew about the bell before it was deployed during the Second World War. Delschau was a member of the German Sonora Aero Club Collective, a cryptic group known for their construction of exploratory aircraft designs. This would later raise suspicions that Delschau might have been in contact with some pro-Nazi, hyper-intelligent extraterrestrials. How else could he have painted hundreds of aircraft, all looking strikingly similar to the bell? But why did they create this contraption? In the book, Witkowski explains that the goal of the campaign was to generate anti-gravity propulsion, which is why they found it fastened to the ground with large chains. In addition, his theory maintains that this weapon was lethal for any living being that was in a radius of 200 meters after activation. In the writings, he talks about his creation process, loaded with tragedy. 5 of the 7 members of the team led by physicist Walter Gerlach died during the tests.
Part of their job was to literally go all over the world looking for special occult artifacts. Things like the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail.
By the Polish secret agent military, who provided the documents to the journalist, from whom he could only take a few notes. So there is no material evidence of the existence of this Nazi campaign. There are also those who believe that the bell was moved to the Arctic Circle and/or South America after their top scientists were executed. Some also believe that work was continued on the bell after the Second World War, after the Nazi leaders developed UFO technologies that allowed them to communicate with pro-Nazi extraterrestrial beings. Conspiracy theories about Nazi time and interdimensional travel have resurfaced before the release of the 3rd season of the successful American television series created and produced by Amazon Studios, Man in the High Castle. More and more reports are surfacing as it continues to gain fresh awareness. Historians say that there is probably no weapon of time travel, such as Die Glocke, and this is due to unverified conspiracy theories. And, of course, scientists still believe that traveling through time is impossible. Yet, every day, we see signs that there are so many secret works deliberately hidden from the public. This is a story not suitable for skeptics that undoubtedly brings us closer to a dark age, not only because of what happened, but also because of all that remains to be discovered about what really happened.
From what we're able to glean today, Nazi technology at the end of World War II was so advanced that they had things that are still science fiction today. Anti-gravity, beam weapons, flying saucers, flying triangles, things that are still kept secret today.